already have heard of Leslie A. Davidson. This September she won the coveted CBC Creative Nonfiction Prize for her short piece, Adaptation. But on the day we visited her in her newly adopted hometown of Revelstoke, BC, she was celebrating the publication of her children's book, In the Red Canoe. The two stories couldn't be more dissimilar, yet they share a common hero, her husband Lincoln, who became ill with Lewy body dementia just a short time after Leslie herself was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Adaptation tells the story of how Lincoln began to display some of the more worrying aspects of his illness, in particular, his failure to recognize his own wife on 2 separate occasions.
Those 2 incidents, plus one more that just didn't fit in, around his confusion about who I was, were incredibly traumatic at the time. Like, they were so frightening to me and so heartbreaking that I was a little bit haunted by them, and had learned, I'd done quite a bit of writing about our walk since our diagnoses, and I had learned that my writing about it always moved me to a place of understanding that the despair and the grief was not the whole picture for me.
That other side of the picture is represented in the Red Canoe, a picture book that tells of Grandpa Lincoln and a fictional granddaughter who spend a day paddling in his canoe, where they encounter, amongst other things, frogs, fish, an osprey, and a flock of swallows.
Sunset time is swallow hour. We drift along the shore. First 1, then 2, swoop overhead, then more and more and more. Yeah, and it was just imagining what it would be like for grandchildren of ours, which we didn't have at the time, to be in the Red Canoe with Lincoln. And he expected a lot of our kids in a very gentle way, but they spent hours as very little kids in that canoe, noodling over, and he would say, "Hang tough, it'll be worth it," or "Let's go over and see if there's any turtles over here," or "Wait for it, there's an osprey up there. Let's just sit and wait for it." I love to watch the swallows dance, my head on Grandpa's knee. In my dreams I fly with them. Do swallows dream of me?
Leslie has emerged as a fiction writer only now, in retirement. A self-professed army brat whose father was a chaplain and mother a nurse, she grew up with 3 siblings in various locations in BC, Ontario, and Manitoba. After teaching in Williams Lake, where she met her husband, Leslie and Lincoln settled in Grand Forks to work and raise their 2 daughters, Sarah and Naomi.
And I wound up teaching kindergarten. I just happened to fall into a kindergarten because of 1st of September reconfiguration of the school because of numbers, and spent my first week in this classroom being supported by the other kindergarten teacher, going, "Oh my goodness, this is so much fun, so much fun." And yeah, kind of made my career mostly there for the next 30 plus years.
At age 56, she said goodbye to teaching. She and Lincoln put their Red Canoe on the roof of their Volkswagen van and went exploring throughout North America.
And then Lincoln got sick, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and life went a little bit sideways.
Today, Lincoln lives in an extended care facility in Revelstoke. Leslie, their daughters, and 3 grandchildren visit him daily. And Leslie continues to write, not only children's books, but pieces about her life with her husband. It's a creative direction that required considerable forethought.
I did have to work through the question of, is this okay? Lincoln hasn't given permission. He can't give permission. Is it okay for me to be so personal? Because if I'd been able to say to him 5 years ago, honey, I'm going to write about us, I don't know what he would have said. But because we are so not alone in this journey, there are so many people, so many families struggling with dementia in one form or another in their lives.
Her CBC Prize-winning story has garnered her a $6,000 award and a residency at the Banff Centre for Arts and Creativity. That's been a bonus, but this recognition is not the real prize.
I'm sure there's ego involved. It's really nice to be told, you know, you write really well, or, and I won't deny that it's very gratifying, but I wouldn't abuse him for the sake of my ego, or abuse the privilege of being able to tell this story if I didn't think it was of some wider purpose or met some wider purpose. I wish upon the shining moon that there will always be Grandpa and the Red Canoe, soft summer nights. And me.